I can't wait to see Aunt Abigail and Malcolm. Imagine a honeymoon in Boston. Isn't that so romantic?
Dreadful distance, if you ask me. I don't see why I couldn't have stayed at the White Sands.
And none of it would have happened without us, Felicity. Malcolm McEwen would still be in the Yukon. And Aunt Abigail would still be an old maid.
There are worse things to be, Felicity King. In any case, you children have no business poking your noses into adult affairs.
We were not poking our noses, Aunt Hetty. We were simply making sure that Cupid's arrow made its mark.
What a hat. Who do you think she is, Queen of England?
Aunt Hetty, I thought we were going into the general store.
Well, if Rachel Lynde's in there, I'll do my business in the post office first. I can't abide that woman, never could. Well, now, you two, don't outstay your welcome with Malcolm and Abigail. Be back here in 1 hour, no longer. I'll need you to help me carry these supplies.
We promise. Two lovebirds wouldn't want to be disturbed for long anyhow. Racia!
I'm in here, Mr. Malcolm McEwen.
Sit yourself down. I have something to show you.
You have been to the Simpson auction, haven't you?
Well, I did have a wee look, but it's a good thing I did.
Malcolm, how could you go to another auction? We don't need another thing. You must have bought every knick-knack bric-a-brac in the city of Boston. There isn't a square inch of space left in my little house.
I beg your pardon, Mrs. McEwen. Our little house. It's a beauty, isn't it, Abby? Don't you think?
We don't need a cradle, Malcolm.
Not just at this very moment, but you never know, do you?
Malcolm, we discussed this. I told you how I felt.
I don't want to hear any more of that nonsense about being too old to have a baby. And look at yourself, too old indeed. You look like a girl of 20 the day I married you.
And I've grown a few gray hairs learning to live with the likes of you, Malcolm McEwen. And it is not nonsense. It is plain fact. Oh, please, Malcolm, let's not discuss it anymore. I could never in all of my life see myself having a baby. I'm past that. And besides, I don't think I'm the mothering kind.
You didn't think you were the marrying kind either.
Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. I don't seem to be making you very happy.
That's not true. I am happy. I love you.
You won't be happy until we have a child. Look at you going around to auctions, buying cradles, bringing the subject up every waking moment. Malcolm, please, I can't. I don't want to discuss it anymore.
All right, we won't.
Now take the cradle out and put it in the shed.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't mean to upset you.
It's all right.
It doesn't seem to take much these days.
You don't mind me setting for a spell, I hope, Elvira. It's dreadful quiet at home.
Not at all, Rachel. I'm getting quite used to these little visits.
When's Marilla due back, Rachel?
Oh, Anne won't let her go for a few weeks yet, I dare say, Mrs. Potts. The new baby's jaundiced. It was obvious from her letter that Marilla is exhausted.
She should know better than to look after a baby at her age. I hope I can finish this sweater in time to send it with one of your letters, Rachel.
Well, there's no rush, Mrs. Potts. I won't be sending one till next week. Not enough news to fill many letters.
It says here that another octogenarian has just died. What is an octogenarian?
Whatever they are, they must be awfully sickly creatures, for you never hear tell of them, but they're dead.
Good Lord, it's Hetty King. Don't let on that I'm here.
Afternoon, Hetty. What can I do for you?
Oh, I've a list as long as my arm, Ed Lawson. Sarah's suddenly developed an appetite. She's eating me out of house and home of late.
Hetty King is so tight, the poor child probably doesn't get half of what she needs to grow on.
Oh, those are nice.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
These today's.
Fresh this morning. I'll be with you in a minute, Mr.
Theodore Simpkin, barrister and solicitor. Oh, what a pleasure to see you again, Miss King.
Sorry, I can't say the same, Mr. Simpkin. Excuse me.
If you don't mind, I'll wait on Miss King here, and I'll get back to you.
Mr. Lawson, I am here on important business. I represent the estate of the late Robert and Jane Morris. I believe the deceased had an outstanding account with your establishment.
You don't mean Jane Morris, the school teacher from Markdale's dead?
Why, I can hardly believe it.
But how? When did this happen?
Last week. They passed on within a day of each other. Scarlet fever, so I'm told.
Oh, how dreadful. Well, wasn't there a baby?
Yes, there was. 3 months old, Robert Morris, Jr. Now, according to my calculations, they owed you $54.26, Mr. Lawson.
$54.26. Really, Edward?
Well, I don't usually let it run that high, but they seem such a nice young couple.
Great trouble to myself. I have a good portion of the contents of their house outside. Now, I'm sure that their collected value will be more than enough to pay off their debt.
But what is being done about the baby, Mr. Simpkin?
What baby?
The baby. Well, it's in a neighbor's charge at present, but I am taking it to the orphanage on my return to Charlottetown tomorrow.
Orphanage?
Oh, the poor thing.
Let me tell you, Mr. Simpkin. Jane Morris was put under my supervision as a student teacher when she first arrived on this island 4 years ago, and we became very close. I know for a fact she'd never want her baby put in the hands of the likes of you or any orphanage. I'll find someone to take care of that baby.
You will find someone to take care of it. No relative of mine is going to be looked after by you, Hetty King. That child is my flesh and blood.
What? That certainly is news to me, Rachel. Isn't this just like you, Rachel Lynde, skulking around like a fox near a hen house?
Robert Morris was my late husband Thomas's cousin's nephew.
Oh, my. Well, that certainly is a close family connection, I must say.
In that case, Mrs.
Lynde, Mrs. Rachel Lynde.
You had no interest in that baby when the Morrises were alive. So, why should you have any say what happens to it now?
Finding a home for that baby is my duty, and I will not shirk it. I wouldn't want poor Thomas to think I'd let down his relations.
I'm sure poor Thomas is beyond caring now. If that baby needs a home, look no further. It's my duty. I shall take it.
I'm afraid in the eyes of the law, it's not that simple, ladies.
Aunt Hetty, you can't mean that.
Don't interrupt in grown-up affairs. Go on outside.
Over my dead body. I'll keep it myself before I let you have it, Hetty King.
Ah, you're just plain jealous. That's what you are, Rachel Lynde.
Jealous of you? For what possible reason?
You've always had an insatiable desire to have what is mine.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hetty.
Oh, yes, you do. Rachel Lynde. You stole Romney Penhallow's heart away from me in grade 7 simply because you couldn't stand the idea that I had something that you couldn't have.
Goodness, ladies, let's not drag that old chestnut out again.
Jane Morris is certainly more my friend than your relative, that's for sure. And I won't have you stealing her baby away from me. No, this time you can't have what is rightfully mine.
Rightfully yours.
Rachel, Hetty, let's all just sit down and have a nice cup of tea.
You just stay out of this, Elvira.
Ladies, please.
You think you can get away with this, Rachel Lynde? You are mighty mistaken. Felicity, Sarah, outside, wait.
I'd like to see you stop me, Hetty King.
Sarah, Aunt Hetty will see you.
There is no dispute to settle, Mr. Simpkin. This woman's far too old to even consider raising a child.
Too old? How dare you? Hetty King, you don't know two pins about raising children.
I am a teacher, Rachel.
Them that can have, and them that can't teach.
I'd be a better mother to that child than you would, Rachel Lynde.
Look, if I just may interject here.
Oh, to be quiet, you young windbag.
What was that? Aunt Hetty calling the lawyer a windbag?
No,